under this ownership, Newcastle United continue to keep those cards very close to that chest. And there are more smoke screens during transfer windows than a SWAT team raid on a drug cartel. We don't really know what's going on, and we're starting to get the feeling that journalists don't, because there's just so much up in the air and so much debated. Now, one of them things is how much money is left in that pot after the Tonali signing. I almost feel like everyone thinks they know about financial fair play, but as last summer proved with the Isak signing out of nowhere for that £60+ million mark just before the window slammed shut, we don't know what is going to happen in this window. But what about the scenario that possibly only one more player could come in for a substantial fee? That's what we're going to be discussing on this video. So if you are a little bit curious, you know what to do by now. Stick around. Welcome back to Black and White Banter, you beautiful Newcastle fans. I hope you're having a good week. My weeks are absolutely flying at the moment. 2 jobs, trying to create content, trying to look after a very troublesome dog, and trying to plan for that trip next week to United States of America. I can't wait. It's getting closer. I've got nothing prepared for it. I need to get my flag ready. Of course, I've got to get a flag. It's probably going to be Eddie Howe sat in the White House. Maybe Joe Linton on the Statue of Liberty. I don't know. Give me some ideas in the comments, but I'm going to come up with a pretty good flag for that trip. So all sorts to prepare. So my week is going fast as hell. Don't even know what day or whether it's morning or evening. Hope you're having a good one. If you are new to Black and White Banter Newcastle fans, do us a cheeky little favour. Give us one of them right now. Why not? Why would you not? That goes a long way so this video can maybe go to more people. And if you like my opinion by the end of this video, or if you're just one of them guys who hands out subscribes, like a rich man handing out £20 notes, like a millionaire handing out £20 notes, then go on, whack that subscribe now, not at the end of this video. You might like some stuff I post, even if it's further down the line. And I am going to the United States, so if you want to see me eating corn dogs and drinking what will be probably very poor pints of lager, and expensive, in New York, Philadelphia, Atlanta, do that now. So let's get straight into this one. This is another thought-provoking video, and I'm trying to do more of these because there's so many scenarios that are getting painted to us on Twitter, in the newspapers, on all forms of social media, and there's so many in-the-know accounts on Twitter. It's hilarious, and please do your very best to not be duped by too many of these. What you are seeing a pattern of, because Newcastle now do hold this smokescreen, secretive approach, which I love. I do. I think if we can stay out of those newspapers more, that means less teams are going to jump on the back of a player who they may have been sniffing around and then inquire. It's good practice, and I love it. And it's from a strategic point of view, from a business point of view, it's good. But yeah, what we're seeing a pattern of is journalists jumping on the back of someone else. So one journalist will report one story. Maybe in the case of the Telegraph reporting Harvey Barnes on Friday, within an hour or 2 hours on Twitter, every single other journalist, which I don't believe they've done any digging into themselves, will just put that one out there that they are also in the knowledge that story is true. We are led to believe and all that sort of stuff. And I just don't buy it sometimes. I'd love to spend a day in the life of a sports and specifically a Newcastle journalist, because it's wonderful. But one debate that is being had quite regular is this whole FFP and where the transfer budget is. Now, we've touched on previous videos how Craig Hope said the budget was about 75 million. When Tonali came in for 55, that was then kind of laughed off from a lot of quarters, probably myself included, because everyone's thinking there can't be 20 million left to last us this whole summer. There's a lot of areas of the pitch that we need to strengthen in. But then it's now being discussed that potentially Harvey Barnes could be a last signing, before the only way we could sign players on from him would be if players were sold. And we know we don't have many sellable assets. I'm not going to make this video about Alan St. Maximin, because we've talked about him being the only real sellable asset that Eddie Howe maybe doesn't see as a starter for him week in, week out, just based off track record of Eddie Howe's time at Newcastle. So that's not what we're going to get into on this. So the focus of this video is, if we were only getting one more player in, what should that be? And what should that take the shape and form of? Now, as I'm recording this video, we are led to believe that next signing might be Harvey Barnes. So that would be Tonali and him through the door. That's what we led to believe. But as right now, he's not confirmed. And it has gone a little bit quiet. You know, there's talks about negotiations going on between us and Leicester. The player apparently wants to sign for us over West Ham and Aston Villa. All, you know, hearsay. And, you know, Sky Sports News generally has always been my most reliable, just because I think that's a generation thing growing up. If it was on Sky Sports News, it was real. They haven't posted too much about it in the last 24, 48 hours. So forgetting about Harvey Barnes for a second, what position do I think would give us the most if we were only going to bring in two high-quality players? Tonali's through the door, and I think Tonali's going to be a fantastic sign. And Eddie Howe, I think, would have wanted that man no matter how much AC Milan dug their heels in. If the price had to go a little bit higher, I think he would have wanted to pay it. So in Tonali we trust. Get the Moretti's ready for him. I think he could be a cracking sign just because of his versatility, his athleticism, his experience at a young age, Champions League. But where do I look at this Newcastle team and see one player coming in as being the priority? Now, I look at the goalkeeper, Nick Pope. Not a problem. Safe as houses. Probably didn't get enough plaudits as what he maybe deserved last season, because he was fucking brilliant. Not very good with the ball at his feet, but I don't think Eddie Howe in his system relies too much on distribution from Nick Pope. I don't get those vibes from what I've seen so far. I think he can get away with the fact he's not very good with his feet. So Nick Pope, safe as houses. Let's rule that one out. Defence. So you go right back. There's obviously been links with Livramento, so we are looking at that area. Trippier's not getting any younger. We've got Ashby. He's still very, very raw. He didn't play that much football for West Ham before he came to us. He's one for maybe 2-3 years' time. So I understand why we're looking for someone who could maybe come straight into the team as an understudy, because Manquillo might be out the door. That wouldn't be a priority for me. Yes, that's on the list, and we'll talk about my list at the end, but as a one player after Tonali, it's not right back. So then we go to centre-backs. No, again for me, if you are talking about only having one player to play with in this transfer window, it's not centre-back. We've got Fabian Schär. He's got at least another fantastic season in him, maybe 2 seasons. You've got Botman. We know he's young. We know he's only going to get better. Absolutely fucking baller. Absolutely love the man. I can't wait to see him play in the Champions League. But then you go cover. You've got Dan Burn, who can slot in there, where players like Matt Target can play left back. You've got Lascelles, who we don't know whether he's going to stay. He's club captain still. I would maybe like him to, because of the amount of games we're going to have in the season. And I think he must have some fantastic leadership qualities in that dressing room, because Eddie Howe would have changed captain by now if he didn't. So I don't think that's priority. I really don't. You've got Kraft, who we hope will be back very soon. So that moves us into left back. Now left back is definitely up there. I've been calling for a more attacking left back for a very long time now. Dan Burn, love the man. Absolutely love the man. Someone commented a very long comment, very, very long comment in one of my videos. So if it's you, speak out. You know, the time that you took to write about Dan Burn at left back was incredible. It must have been about 3,000 words, making the point that everyone's calling for a new left back, but Dan Burn was actually so important from a defensive point of view in how good we were as a back four last season and conceding so few. So if you take that away, is that going to make our defence worse? Well, that's a very fair point. But if you look what we have on one side with Trippier bombing forward and supporting his fullback, the balance of our team, how Eddie Howe likes to press, attack as a team, defend as a team, I think it is imperative that we get a left back who can really, really support the attack more than what Dan Burn can. And I think Dan Burn can get found out at times, but because of the length of his body and his experience and his positioning, he can recover from getting done for pace and trickery, and I think he's proved that, and that's why our defence was so good. But that's always been a position I would love to see, a left back who not only has the quality to defend, but also has a little bit of pace and a little bit of confidence and quality in the final third to whip balls in, to link up, to overlap the left midfielder, whoever that might be. And that's got to be up there. So left back is definitely going onto that list for me as sort of we'll iron these ones out one by one. So then we go into midfield. Right hand side. A right-hand sided midfielder. That's not how Eddie Howe likes to play. We know he plays, generally speaking, he plays two banks of three. So that first bank of three, Joe Linton, Bruno, Tonali, Longstaff, Elliot Anderson, Almiron, Murphy can both slot into that first three. So the first three, as more of a sitting midfielder, I'm going to say no. That's, again, not with Tonali coming in. That's not priority for me by any means. We lost Shelvey, but then we've added Tonali. Yes, injuries are going to play their part across the season. You've also, did I mention Joe Willock? I don't think I mentioned Joe Willock as well. So he's in there as well. He's in that fold. So then we go on to a more attacking three. Now, wingers wise, we've got Almiron, Murphy, Maximin, Gordon. We've got Willock who can play there. We've got Joe Linton, who we know has proved his versatility to play a little bit further forward in a three. We've then got Isak who can play on the left. So a winger now, for me, an out-and-out winger, if you want to look at it that way, is a no-no. But before I get on to strikers, which again is going to be a no from me, because I do think we need another one, but going back to the scenario of this video, if you can only sign one more player, I do believe it's that central roaming attacking midfielder. Very much like, and this might upset some Newcastle fans who are still salty they didn't sign for us, like a James Maddison. Maybe more of an athlete. I think we need to be scouring the market, and I'm not going to sit here and claim I know players from all over Europe who would fit that mould on what we need. We need a player who can sit just behind Isak or Wilson. Gordon, you've got your Maximin, you've got your Almiron for the wings, but someone who can link up, maybe play just off the striker, be in and around that 18-yard box, get a shot off, be good in the shot, link up play, through balls, and also a bit of an engine, because if a player doesn't have an engine in this Eddie Howe team, it doesn't work, and that's the only reservation I had with James Maddison. So I would be looking at, I don't want to say specifically centre attack and midfield, because we know Eddie Howe likes to play those two banks of three, so you would maybe be moving into a two in front of the defence, two midfielders in front of the defence, one in front of them, and then your two wingers and a striker. That's what I think we need to be looking at, and that would be my priority, because if we brought in a quality centre attack and midfielder just to give us that next level, I think that sets us off pretty well. And that's not me saying I wouldn't be delighted if we signed Harvey Barnes. That's me saying if we sign Harvey Barnes, and then the possibility of selling St. Maximin, and I said I wasn't going to mention his name, but I'll have to sign a centre attacking midfielder. Would I do that? I'd be very tempted, because I'm worried about our balance of the team. Because if you cast your mind back to last season, when Bruno was injured, and we went through that barren run of not being able to win a game in the January to February kind of time, just before the cup final, we really, really struggled. We did. We really struggled. Creativity was really, really limited. Scoring goals when teams were setting up those two banks of five, and we are going to see that again next season. Teams are going to be coming to St James's Park, Eddie Howe's fucking massive top six mags. They are going to be happy with a point in front of the Geordies. So they are going to keep defending for their lives, and we really struggled with that final pass to break teams down. And I still don't see Tonali as being the player to push Bruno into a centre attacking midfielder. I don't. He's not very good in the shot. I think Bruno will still be a better suited midfielder who sits a little bit more, and he's the creative pass before the pass. Great link up in and around the box, I'm not denying that, but not the man who's going to get you 12 or 13 goals from midfield. And that's what we don't have right now. If you look at the stats of central midfielders and midfielders' goals last season, in a season that we finished fourth and had a fucking amazing year, can I just say, the numbers are low. And I touched on my last video about Joe Willock maybe stepping it up a notch in pre-season going into next year. I love Joe Willock, but for him only to contribute, I think it was 6 goals and 3 assists off the top of my head last season. That needs to be better in 35 games, because why is Joe Willock in the team? He's not a defensive midfielder. He's in the team for attacking intent. And yes, he offers so much more than just goals and assists. But Didn't score enough last season, and the numbers proved that, to be any more than where we finished, to be going anywhere near the Arsenals. Imagine if we had scored more, we would have been. We need to find a way, and that's central attacking midfield. I don't think Harvey Barnes is going to unlock. Yes, he had a good goal record for Leicester, but if you look at how our team's set up, I'm not sure Harvey Barnes will be that second signing for me. So I'm going to go for central attack midfielder. It was very close between that and left back. And again, just to reiterate, when I say central attacking midfielder, I don't mean strict in that. Someone who can roam, someone who has freedom, someone who is a little bit more versatile, but someone who can score goals, create goals, and has that dynamism in and around the box. That's what I feel like this Newcastle team is missing. Just that it would be that sprinkle of that Himalayan salt on top of the steak would be that for me. So, Newcastle fans, I've done a lot of yabbing there, but it's a really, really thought-provoking one. So, if this wasn't my best video and how I've talked on this one, I apologise, but my brain's always second-guessing. Let me know in the comments if you could only sign one player from now, one player, it might be Harvey Barnes, who would it be? Who would it be for us to go into next season with the Champions League in mind, assuming we don't sell many? If we only sign 2 players, Eddie Howe will not be selling all of the players I thought he would be. It would have a very different look. Let me know in the comments, because it's an interesting debate. Get us across all social media, Black and White Banter. And if you haven't already, you've stuck around this long, hit that subscribe and drop that like. And I'm going to continue these kind of videos because I love nothing more than opening up comments and opening up debates with my fellow fans. So if you've liked this one, get us on the subscribe and you'll see much more. I'll see you on the next video, Newcastle fans. How are the land?